First, I want to recall that visa liberalisation is part of the European Council's EU-Turkey statement of the 18th of March. The common handling of the refugee crisis that was agreed at that occasion has clearly yielded results. The intention was to put an end to the shameless exploitation of human suffering by ruthless criminals. We can now say that their business model is breaking down. Fewer people are risking their lives by crossing the Aegean Sea. There are now, on average, less than 100 arrivals a day in the Greek islands, down from thousands that we saw arriving in the autumn and even early this year. The Turkey facility is off to a promising start and helps provide better conditions for refugees. By the end of July, we expect to allocate €1 billion in EU funding for their healthcare, education and food. We need to continue working closely with Turkey to protect these vulnerable people. As you know, the EU's cooperation with Turkey, as decided by the European Council, is based on mutual commitments. One of the commitments the European Council made was to speed up work on the previously agreed roadmap to achieve visa-free travel for Turkish citizens. Turkey indicated it would be able to accelerate all the reforms necessary to reach fulfillment of the benchmarks sooner than previously agreed. This process is based on a set of 72 clearly defined benchmarks which make sure that all the safeguards that should accompany visa-free travel are in place. These include strong guarantees on security and measures that prevent travellers from overstaying. Over the last weeks, Turkey has made impressive progress. There is still work to be done as a matter of urgency, but if Turkey sustains the progress made and continues at the same pace, they can meet the remaining benchmarks. This is why we are now in a position to put forward a proposal which opens the way for the European Parliament and Member States to decide to lift visa requirements once the benchmarks have been met. There is no free ride here, and we are clear about what remains to be done. There are 5 remaining benchmarks that we expect Turkey to meet by the end of June. These 5 benchmarks consist of measures to prevent corruption, negotiating an operational agreement with Europol, offering judicial cooperation to all EU member states, bringing data protection rules in line with EU standards, and revising the legislation on terrorism. Another benchmark will be met on the 1st of June when the EU-Turkey readmission agreement enters into force. Turkey will be given until the end of the year to upgrade its passports so that they meet the latest biometric standards. But let me be very clear, in the meantime, no Turkish citizen will enter the EU without a visa if they don't have a biometric passport with a facial image and fingerprint data. And I want to stress that I would rather have somebody at my border with a biometric passport where I can be sure that the person carrying the passport is actually the person mentioned in the passport, because I can check with facial recognition and fingerprints, rather than a person with an old-fashioned passport and a paper visa where the guarantee that the person carrying the passport is the person mentioned in the passport is less strong than with a biometric passport. So I think this is quite an achievement if we reach that level with biometric passports with Turkey. And let me be very clear. The remaining benchmarks are challenging and important and will require political determination for Turkey to fulfill the commitments it undertook on the 18th of March. We will send our proposals to the European Parliament and the Council. It should make it possible to take a decision by the end of June based on what Turkey will then have delivered. On the basis of a number of discussions with Member States in recent weeks, we have also decided to propose strengthening the suspension mechanism for all countries that are granted visa-free travel. The mechanism will then become easier to use by extending the possible grounds for suspension and by drastically speeding the process up. The Commission would also be able to trigger the mechanism on its own initiative. Our cooperation with third countries is just one part of our work to achieve better and more sustainable management of migration. And by the way, we will present further ideas in June on how to work with third countries to tackle our common challenges.